Hello, fellow Voyagers. Jess here with Odyssey Human, here today to talk about change your loyalties and watch your life change. Welcome to the channel. This is a place where we help you hack through the jungles of consciousness so that you can discover the hidden treasures inside of you. My friends, it's all there, ready and waiting to be activated by you. If that sounds good, please subscribe. We'd love to have you join us on the channel. And today I want to talk about loyalties. When I say that word loyalty, what does that mean to you? What do you think of? Now, as humans, we have a spectrum of loyalty to things, right? On one end is very fickle, right? We can change sides very quickly. On the other end, we can be fiercely loyal to something and, until even in the face of contrary evidence, and then everything in between. So loyalty, when we think in the terms of reality creation and manifesting, it's often easy to miss where our loyalties lie. Why is that? That's because when we do things so often, they become on autopilot for us, right? They are so commonplace in our lives that we often forget that they exist. We forget that there are alternatives, and we forget there's another side, right? We can switch sides. So, and it doesn't matter whether we are seeing it or not, right? When you think about sports loyalty, people's loyalty to their teams, right? I think of my brother, and he is fiercely loyal to the Steelers. Oh my gosh. And even if the Steelers have a losing season, he's like, next year we're going to get them, right? His loyalty is not in how the team is performing, but his vision of the team, right? His vision of the team and who he knows that they are and how capable he knows they are of performing. And you cannot shake him from that loyalty. And we need to apply the same tactic when it comes to our manifesting, because often when we are not seeing something out in 3D, we're feeling unfulfilled. That's because we're being loyal to unfulfillment. So I want you to start to bring awareness. Where do your loyalties lie? And there are 3 areas where you could be being loyal and you don't know it. So what are those 3 areas? Area number 1, your story. What's your story about your desire? What is your story? Is your story, I have it? Or is your story, I don't have it and I'm trying to manifest it, right? Which one is it? Which one are you being loyal to? Again, often I think so frequently we don't have what we want because we are not loyal to embodying having it. We're not loyal to that. We're more loyal, right, to the realistic perspective that it's not here yet. But that's not a perspective that is outside of us, that we are serving, that we are, also joining in realism. It is a perspective we are creating ourselves. Perspective we're creating ourselves. So that's one place you could have loyalties that you might want to change. And this includes, our habits. So are you being loyal in your habits? Our habits can include a thought or belief that we're really clinging to. Our habits could include behavioral habits, right? Things that we're doing, like if we want to be wealthy, if we want to be a millionaire, but we're constantly checking our bank account and feeling bad about that there's only a few dollars in there and some cents. Which one are those habits loyal to someone who is embodying wealth, who believes in wealth, who knows themselves to be wealthy? Ask yourself this. So your story, your habits, and number 3, the third place you want to look for where your loyalties are in your attention. Where's your attention going, right? Where are you placing your attention? And this could be physically fixating on something, in your external environment. It could also be just, looking for evidence, right? Constantly that searching for evidence, kind of attention. That's a habit and attention kind of overlapping there of you have a habit of your attention, looking for evidence, looking to see if it's been manifested. And again, that if you're the creator, right? And when we say that, you're the creator, and that those 3 things, your story, your habits, and your attention are the active elements of who you are. That's what you got to work with. That's it. That's it. And you are in a bigger sense, you're the vessel, you are the awareness, the consciousness containing all of those things and having them play out to create an emotional experience, right? An experience of reality, an experience of how you're feeling, whether you're feeling fulfilled or not, comes from how well you're managing these three things and where you are putting your loyalties. So it doesn't matter whether you're seeing it or not, right? Think of my brother. It doesn't matter if the Steelers are winning or not. In his mind, he is loyal to their success. That's what he is loyal to. And so it's whether or not you're investing in it. Are you investing in it? Because you can nestle down into that, and for him, I'm sure he feels this way. Even after they lose or the season ends for them, he nestles into that happiness of feeling and believing that they are successful. They're a successful team. And that feeling is self-sustaining, right? It feels good. It feels like, yeah, it's their success. They're here. It's happening. And so the amount of noise on the 3D, right? The 3D kind of it's drowned out by that. So it doesn't matter. But only in committing to that is it then reflected through us, right? When we're really embodying that through us, it's reflected into our physical reality. So I want to give you a tool now. I want to give you a tool because you can have the last word. You can always have the last word because, like I said, these 3 capacities are what you have to work with. They're how you are a creator. And so if you want to really step into the experience of having the thing that you want, being the person that you want, experiencing the thing that you want, you got to change your loyalties in these areas. So the last word technique is something that I have done very successfully. And it just starts with a simple phrase. Now, I used to work with a lady that I did not get along with. I'm going to be totally transparent. And I've told this story in another video, but I'm going to tell it again here. We're going to call her Karen because that's an easy word to use in this situation. She and I interacted at work. And at some point, after the stressful interactions with her, I decided that Karen was retiring. Now, I'm not sure where this idea came from, but I put my loyalty into it because A, it was fun. And if you haven't heard, by the way, as an aside, if you haven't watched my video about making your desire a running joke, check that out now because this is kind of based on that experience. I just decided Karen's retiring. The idea came out of nowhere. It's not like Karen was in that age group. It just popped into my head and I was like, yeah, it felt like a lifesaver because this was a situation that caused me stress, interacting with her, having to work on projects with her and not ever agreeing on anything. We never agreed on anything. So yeah, it started with a little story. And how I played the last word game is that when I would vent about her to someone else, or when I was thinking about her in my mind and like, why won't she just agree to, why won't she do this and blah, blah, blah. I would always end the story, end the thought stream with, oh, well, Karen's retiring. So it doesn't really matter. Karen's retiring. And the minute I said those words, and I said them with a sense of neutrality, right? I wasn't like squeezing my eyes and trying to believe that she was actually retiring. I just said it with a sense of neutrality. From the feeling state of that was just like, okay, but Karen's retiring. And the secondary feeling was a sense of relief because that little story allowed me to release from the fixation on whatever interaction I had had with her that day or beef that I had with her, right? It allowed me to release my attention then. And then my habits, right? My habit was not looking forward to interacting with her, complaining about interacting with her, wishing that someone else was in her position, right? These were all some of the habits that I had around the subject of her. So that little statement, when I said it, it helped me release those habits too. When I would catch myself in complaining, I would say, well, Karen's retiring, so it doesn't really matter. And that would be the end of it. It was a self-soothing technique because that's what I wanted. I wanted her to move on to her next opportunity. And so that, just in saying those words, I had no expectations. I wasn't staring at the 3D waiting for it to change. I honestly just did it to put myself in the place of where I actually wanted to be, right? And in doing that, ironically, miraculously, amazingly, 3 months into doing that, Karen announced her retirement. Interestingly, I did find out later that someone actually egged her on to retire. I can't give you all the juicy details, but someone above her even encouraged her, maybe not so gently, to retire. And it wasn't me. I wasn't that high up on the food chain. And so very interesting stuff. I was shocked when the announcement came. I was like, whoa, I accidentally manifested that. But this is how we can always have the last word. So I encourage you to play the last word game and see what you can create. Come from a place of loyalty, because what was happening to me in that situation was my loyalty was in focusing on behaving as if and telling the story that Karen and I weren't getting along and I wanted it to go away. I wanted the whole problem to go away, right? That was where my loyalty was. And unfortunately, I kept cycling in that. And that relief that I got in switching my loyalty, like I literally felt myself phase shift as I talked about Karen, catching myself and saying, okay, Karen's retiring, it doesn't matter. I caught myself phase shifting, switching sides, literally with my loyalty to that thought, to that belief, to that story, to that point of attention. And that in itself was very fulfilling for me. It helped me. It was a tool. Having the last word. You can always have the last word. You can always have the last word. Because up until the last minute, I was complaining about Karen and our interactions. Up until the last minute of her announcement coming, I didn't believe she was actually going to retire. I wasn't doing it to try and cause an outcome outside of myself. I was just doing it because it felt good. Do it because it feels good, because it's satisfying for you, because it helps to loosen up loyalties in other areas. Your story, your attention, right? Your fixation on something, or your habits, your behavioral habits, your thought, your mental habits. It helps you to do that. So try the last word technique. And just also as an aside, when I was saying, oh, Karen's retiring, I said it with a sense of neutrality. When I said it, it felt neutral to me. There was no positive, like, yeah, she's retiring. And there was no negative, like, oh, I don't believe that. It was just a neutral phrase for me. That was it. It was a neutral phrase that helped me be loyal to someplace else other than where I was. So try this out. Drop a comment in the description or in the comments below. Let me know what you found when you try this, and know that you always have the last word as the creator. Our consciousness, our awareness, what we are these three things. Check your loyalties and know that you get to have the final say always. And so practice doing this. Let me know how it turns out. If you need a tool to help you recondition yourself, it's kind of similar to the last word tool, but something to help your mind become a more peaceful, happy, calm place, grab that in the description box below. It's always there for you. I always include it in every video. Check it out, use it, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks.